The Izumo Kingdom's counterattack. The land of the gods betrayed by Yamato and Kibi. 2nd century AD. The alliance between Yamato and Izumo collapsed due to betrayal. Now at last, we unveil the truth behind Japan's oldest war. This is not myth. It is the real story of the Izumo War. The Izumo Kingdom in Yamato. In the previous episode, we covered the Wakoku Great Upheaval. Behind this turmoil stood the mighty Izumo Kingdom. At that time, Yamato still depended heavily on the Izumo Kingdom and its people. The Izumo people first arrived on the Japanese archipelago around 2000 BCE, and by about 660 BCE, the Izumo Kingdom was founded. The Nihon Shoki's record of Emperor Jimmu ascending the throne in that year may actually reflect Izumo's founding, but the true first great king was Amma no Murakumo. The Izumo-style bronze sword given to him later became known as the legendary Kusunaga no Tsurugi, enshrined today at Atsuta Shrine. Two branches of the Izumo Kingdom. The Izumo Kingdom was ruled alternately by two royal houses, the eastern and the western branches. The monarch was called Onomochi, and his deputy was Sukunahiko. Titles later mythologized as Okunanushi and Sukunahiko Nagi in legend. They represented peaceful authority during the late Jomon period. The eastern royal palace corresponds to today's Komosu Shrine, and the western palace to Chai Shrine. Behind Komosu Shrine lies an ancient burial site, a sacred rock altar, known as a Iwakura. The betrayal over Harima. Around AD 150, a descendant of Ameno Hiboko seized Harima province. Izumo appealed to its ally Yamato under King Futoni, the future Emperor Korei, for reinforcements, but their plea was ignored at first. Eventually, Futoni dispatched his two princes, Okibitsuhiko and Wakatake Kibitsuhiko, who successfully defeated Hiboko's forces. Instead of returning Harima to Izumo, they pushed onward and occupied Kibi. This campaign would later become the basis for the legendary tale of Momotaro, with the demon, Oni, being Hiboko's army, and the hero as Kibi's prince. The Folktale. Momotaro and the Izumo War. Everyone knows the Japanese folktale, Momotaro. One day, an old woman washing clothes by the river discovers a giant peach floating downstream. Breaking it open reveals a healthy baby boy who is named Momotaro. He sets off to fight the Oni of Onigashima, given millet dumplings, kibadango, by his grandmother. Sharing these dumplings, he befriends a dog, monkey, and pheasant. They succeed in defeating the demons and bring back treasure, earning the villagers' gratitude. There is a theory that this well-known tale was inspired by a historical event. The kibidango may symbolize the lands or rice fields given at that time. That event was the battle between Kibi and Izumo, the core story of the First Izumo War. The betrayal over Harima, Reprise. Around AD 150, Harima was taken by a descendant of Ameno Hiboko. Izumo asked for Yamato's aid. Futoni initially hesitated, but finally sent Okibitsuhiko and Wakatake Kibitsuhiko, who eliminated Hiboko's forces. However, they refused to return Harima and instead invaded Izumo territory, Kibi. This became the prototype of the Momotaro legend. The Oni shook Hiboko's warriors. Momotaro shattered the Prince Kibi. The Oni's fortress is said to be Kinojo, an actual mountain castle in present-day Okayama Prefecture. Visitors even see symbols of sake brewing and rice farming, gifts from Oni ancestors like Umisachihiko. Some scholars link Momotaro to deities Izanagi and Izanami from the Kojiki. In their tale, Izanagi chased revenants, the Oni, with peaches, creating the motif of demon slaying by Peach. One of Izanagi's many children is said to be Kibitsuhiko no Mikoto, thought to be the historical model for Momotaro. This reveals that many Japanese folktales were originally based on history, later transformed for children with magical elements, like a boy born from a peach. Kibi's arrogant demands. King Futoni established the Kibi Kingdom and issued 2 ultimatums to Izumo. Izumo must become a vassal state of Kibi. Izumo must surrender all its bronze bells, Dotaku, and swords, Doken. Izumo's 2 royal houses refused, and war was declared on Izumo. Excavations like the Kamo Iwakura Dotaku and Kanabe Kojindani swords show identical patterns, suggesting hidden bronze weapons were buried in Kamo and recovered later. Outbreak of the Izumo War. The Kibi army launched a full-scale attack on eastern Izumo. Izumo defenders resorted to guerrilla tactics and night raids. King Futoni personally led the campaign, establishing his headquarters in Hoki Province, site of today's Sasafuku Shrine. Nearby stands Kizumi Mountain, demon-dwelling mountain, and Onamori Bridge. The invaders disdainfully called the Izumo soldiers Oni. Even today, folklore about Oni guardians persists in former Izumo settlements, evidence of ancestral memories. Final battle at Yōgai Mountain. Izumo retreated westward and made a last stand at Yōgai Mountain, the greatest battle in its 700-year history. 1/3 of eastern Izumo's warriors were killed, and the clash was later immortalized in myth. In the Kojiki, Onomochi Okuninushi is crushed to death by red-hot stones pushed by his jealous brothers. That battlefield is now Akaiwa Shrine, where a sealed red rock is still venerated. Yamato's defeat in peace. In the midst of battle, shocking news arrived. The Mononobe army from Tsukushi had landed at Wakura and invaded Yamato. King Futoni could not repel them and lost his title as ruler of Yamato. To end the conflict with Izumo, he concluded a peace treaty and retired to Mount Kure. But the war did not end. Futoni's sons Okubitsuhiko and Wakatakekibitsuhiko rallied their troops and marched into southern Izumo. This sets the stage for part 2 of the First Izumo War, the decisive fight for the survival of the Izumo Kingdom. Next episode, Izumo's counterattack and the rise of the Mononobe. The First Izumo War, Part 2.